Am I the asshole for selling my childhood home without asking my family first? So I, 25F, and here's what happened. My parents, Brody and Wilder, are super supportive of me, but they've always been a bit secretive when it comes to our personal finances. For years, I thought we were all on the same page, but everything changed when they sold our childhood home, the one where I grew up, went to school, made all my memories. I'm still trying to process how they felt comfortable doing that without asking me if it was okay first. Can you believe that? They just showed up at my doorstep and were like, "Hey kiddo, we sold your house," like it's no big deal. No explanation, no nothing. I tried to stay calm and ask them why they didn't tell me, but of course, that just led to more questions. Brody kept saying, "We thought you'd want us to get a new house or something like that," but honestly, it felt like he was trying to make excuses rather than owning up to the fact that they made some huge mistake. Wilder, on the other hand, seemed really nervous and guilty all of a sudden. She kept saying, "We didn't mean to hurt you, Priya," over and over again, but I just couldn't process what was happening. Like, why would they do something so reckless without even considering how it would affect me? Things got worse when they showed me the money from the sale, $200,000 of it. They were like, "See, we got you a house." And I was just standing there, thinking what? You used our childhood home as collateral for your own shopping spree? It's just so unbelievable. Now that things have calmed down a bit, my parents are using the money to invest in all sorts of questionable schemes. They were talking about some kind of real estate flip venture with this guy Wilder, who's supposed to be some kind of expert. I've looked him up online, and let me tell you, he's got a shady past. Brody was also talking about using some of the money to invest in Wilder's own business ventures. Apparently, they've already sunk a pretty significant chunk into this one venture called EcoCycle. I don't know what it is, but from what I can gather, it's just a fancy way of saying they're trying to make a quick buck off old trash cans. I'm still trying to wrap my head around everything that happened. I've been feeling pretty angry and hurt, but also, curious? Like, what else have they been keeping from me all these years? As I tried to process it all, I realized that our family's actions don't just raise suspicions about their motives, they also make me wonder what else they might be hiding from us. And now, with this new information, I'm starting to think that my entire life has been a lie. Am I the asshole?
Am I the asshole for telling my mom that her new boyfriend Theo makes me uncomfortable and she chose him over me despite knowing I'm her favorite child? So I've always been super close with my mom Freya. We do everything together, go shopping, watch movies, even share our deepest secrets, or at least, I thought we did. Anyway, after a few months of dating, my mom starts bringing Theo around more and more. At first, it was just casual hangouts, grabbing coffee or going for walks in the park. But soon, she's inviting him over for dinner, and even taking me out of consideration when planning trips with her. I remember one time, we were all supposed to go on a road trip together. It was supposed to be a surprise for my birthday. I was super stoked, but when it finally came time to leave, Freya tells me that Theo needs to come along instead. I asked if he could bring his own car, and she just smiled and said, "Don't worry about it, Theo's got this." Now, I get that parents want to introduce their significant others to their kids, but there was something weird about how quickly Freya adopted him into our family. When we were all driving together, Theo starts making these really long stories about his job. He's some kind of accountant or whatever. At one point, he says, "I make more than twice what you do," which is totally fine and cool and all, but it still made me feel weird. I tried to brush it off and focus on the music playing, but the whole time, I could sense Freya watching me with this look on her face like she was trying not to smile or something. Later that night, we pull over at a rest stop for some bathroom breaks, and I ask Freya if everything's okay. She just shrugs it off and tells me I'm being paranoid. But honestly, it felt like she chose him over me right then and there. Like, the second he started talking about his salary, my mom was already mentally done with our conversation. The next day, we get a text from Freya, "Hey, guys. Just wanted to check in and see if you're still on for dinner tonight?" And when I ask her what's going on, she just tells me that Theo wants to meet up again soon. Now, at this point, I feel like I'm the one who should be over him, not the other way around. Am I the asshole?
Am I the asshole for telling my parents I won't be coming home for the holidays anymore? So I, 37M, and here's what happened. This year was supposed to be a big one. Idris, my dad, had been hinting at it for months that we'd have a huge family gathering at our place, with all of our extended family coming over. He said he wanted to break the record for most people eating at our table at once, 30+ people, and was even planning on hiring some catering staff to help out. I was excited, but also a bit apprehensive. I've always been the odd one out in the family, being the only child who doesn't live nearby. And now, with my sister Zena getting married last year and moving away, it seemed like an even bigger deal than usual. So when Idris started asking me how much money I'd be willing to chip in towards the costs, I decided it was time to have a talk. I told him that while I'd always been happy to help out financially for family gatherings, this year felt like too much. I said something like, "Dad, we can't afford to take on that kind of expense, especially when I'm not even going to be there in person." He seemed taken aback, and told me that he was disappointed but also understanding. But then Zena chimed in, saying that she thought it was a bad idea for me not to come home, and that we should all just make an exception this one time. I tried to explain to her that my financial situation is pretty tight right now. I'm paying off student loans and trying to save up for a down payment on a house, but she just sort of waved it off. When Idris brought it back around to me, he told me that if I wasn't going to come home, then maybe I shouldn't be expected to chip in at all. Am I the asshole?
Am I the asshole for refusing to work overtime without pay and now my boss is threatening my job? So I'm a 20-year-old guy working as an intern at a marketing firm in New York City. My hourly wage is $15, and I usually put in around 40 hours of work per week. Recently, our team lead, Hudson, assigned me to work extra hours on Fridays for the next month without any additional compensation. The total overtime would be around 10 hours per week, which would add up to an extra $150 per week. I told Hudson that I couldn't work those extra hours without pay because my own schedule and finances are pretty tight. He just shrugged it off and said we're in a crunch and that it's not like we have other options. When I asked him how much overtime was guaranteed for the next month, he said enough to keep me busy. That made me feel like I was disposable. Things escalated when our boss, Camille, got involved. She told me that Hudson's creative problem-solving was needed, and that my job was at risk if I didn't agree to work overtime without pay. When I explained my situation again, she said something about not wanting to be taken advantage of by some entitled intern. I feel like that's a pretty weak excuse. To make matters worse, our colleague Kara chimed in on the conversation and said that Hudson was right all along, that I should just suck it up and do what I'm told. She even told me that if I didn't agree to work overtime without pay, she wouldn't want to be part of the team with me. I feel like my job is at risk because I stood up for myself, but at the same time, I don't think it's fair to expect someone to work hours without compensation. Am I the asshole?